How's that? Is that better? Thank you. Thank you, Irma. Thanks for saying that. Welcome, everyone. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve tonight, but I decided that since we are just casually hanging out at home, we did all of our hosting earlier in the month. So tonight we're just hanging out, and I decided to come on YouTube live to meditate with you on something very important. For the past month, my spirit guides and I have been, oh, great. No, I think it was me, Irma. Thank you. For the past month, my spirit guides have been offering insights into how to prepare emotionally, spiritually, mentally for 2026. So 2026 is looking like it's going to be rather chaotic, very fast-paced, and a lot of things seem to be building up to some sort of like shift and drastic changes, and I know that people are feeling quite nervous about it. So I asked my spirit guides to give us insights. Hi, Julie. Glad you're here. I asked my spirit guides to give us some insights in how we can prepare. So hi, Jan. Welcome. So for the last 4 weeks, this is week 4, we've gotten one message per week, and you can go back and look at those videos and just scoot ahead to the intention around these messages. And tonight, I thought long and hard about whether or not I was going to present this on Christmas Eve, because it's some tough love from our guides, right? So, yeah, let's just do it. I'm going to dive in, and let's breathe together. I like to put my hand over my heart to remind myself to breathe through that chakra with gratitude and appreciation. So if you'd like to sit back and either soften your gaze or close your eyes, whatever feels more comfortable, and take a breath in, very relaxed, very comfortable, and relaxing that breath out, slightly longer exhale. Breathing in, 4, 5, 6, out, 5, 6, 7. Breathing in, you might feel your shoulders drop. You might feel a little adjustment inside the brain. In, 4, 5, 6, out, 5, 6, 7. That slightly longer exhale, signaling the body that it's safe, that it can relax. In and out. And now I'd like you to picture your brain and heart in coherence. That means they're syncing up. And that's important when we drop the intentions from the brain into the heart before we send them out. And once you have that sense, picture yourself connecting with me heart to heart in this protected, energetic space. It's safe for us to connect, and we will disentangle at the end. Breathing in, 4, 5, 6, and out, 5, 6, 7. We are now connected. Thank you. Okay, so the 4 messages we've received so far. We belong on the earth, and we're beloved by the earth and all of the creatures, the plants in particular. Week 2 is about second chances. We always have a second chance to make things better. Week 3 was about stirring it up using our curiosity and our agility and our thinking to examine things and make changes. And that feeds beautifully into tonight's message, which is about absolute power. And the card that my guides gave me for tonight is the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. If you know the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, these are her images, and the traditional meaning in the little booklet that comes in that deck of cards is that upright, this card embodies perfect contentment, felicity, ecstasy, speedy intelligence, and gold. But of course, it appeared for us tonight in reverse. And that the traditional meaning is the evil side of wealth, bad intelligence, and great riches. And if you substitute news for intelligence, right, we don't always know if we're getting the truth from the intelligence that's coming our way. So I think this card matches very well the environment we find ourselves in. And the more modern definitions that I use when I'm reading for someone is that this card, upright, stands for physical health and well-being, your earnings, your practice of excellent money management, abundance in every form, whether it's friends or, you have enough food, you have enough money. It's also about manifesting a dream. Like when this card comes up for someone who's in a creative endeavor or is starting a company, to me that signals they have an opportunity to break through and really make a big splash with whatever they're doing. In reverse like this, it is a warning about corruption, scams. It also is about people who are ultra wealthy, who are ostentatious in their accumulation and display of wealth. It's also, I've heard people say this is prosperity without happiness. And I think we certainly have seen plenty of extremely wealthy people who are, maybe they don't look miserable, but the way they act tells you that something's just not right, right? Hi, Rosalind. Welcome. And for these people, the ultra wealthy, we may or may not even know their names, but I do know one thing about them, and that they will never have enough. No matter how much they have, no matter how much they scheme to collect more wealth, they will never have enough. But you and I are luckier. We know that the people in our lives are there because they care about us. They don't have that confidence, and I think that's wise on their part. And we will always be able to satisfy our desires, and these people cannot. I truly am wondering whether in the future this sort of attention to money, this focus on nothing but accumulating money, might even be considered some form of disorder. So we'll see what happens in that. But I think the messages that the guides are bringing us and showing us this card tonight is about this very famous quote. It's a sort of a paraphrasing of a letter that Lord Acton wrote in 1887, I believe. And we have distilled it to absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think people all around the world need to be looking at whether or not their markets are being manipulated, whether there is systemic financial abuse of the people in a particular country, whether there's institutional corruption, whether companies use unfair policies and tricky contracts. Like how many times have you clicked yes on terms and services and then find out that your images are no longer your own. They own something that you didn't intend to give them for free, right? So these tricky contracts, unfair policies, like, it's very expensive to be poor. Let's say you're somebody whose car breaks down and you don't have enough money to repair it, but then you also get a ticket because your car is abandoned on the side of the road and you can't pay the ticket and you can't pay for the repair and your car gets towed and then you can't pay the tow fees, right? So there is a lot of unfair policies, and people can easily fall through the safety net. There's tremendous growing wealth inequality, right? Like in the past, when we had, in the US at least, there was strong middle class when CEOs made, 3-10 times what their highest paid employees make. Well, now they could make $100 million a year, and their next wealthiest employee is making $4 million a year, right? So there's this incredible disparity. And it's very easy to fall into the temptation of greed is good and everybody else is doing it. I got to get mine while I can, right? So this is where that values piece comes in. And we have to take the long view, right? Like, okay, so you find a way to cheat someone this year and you make a bunch of money. Then what happens, right? Like, there are people in Congress who went to Congress and they had $35,000. And when they left Congress, they had 15 million, right? So we know who those people are, and we're learning more and more about them. So what does this mean for us? This means that we have to be vigilant. We have to know our own values and stick with them. And we also need to consider being more savvy and more sophisticated and less trusting, right? Scammers they're making a lot of money off of trusting people who ordinarily would say, sure, I just called my bank and they transferred me and I'm talking to an employee at the bank. Well, no, sometimes your call can be intercepted by a scammer. And then the bank doesn't have any policies to reimburse you when a scammer takes your money, right? So we have an obligation to protect ourselves and to be savvy and sophisticated, and we might have to learn some things, right? We might have to be more vigilant. We might have to be somebody who trusts but verifies. So I turn this card right side up because when the guides give us a card in reverse, it's giving us insight that we need to know in the future. But the reason why they're giving it to us is that we have an opportunity to turn things around. And I think that all of us can think of a number of things that we could do to protect ourselves in 2026. And it's going to be a bumpy ride financially, but we have each other. We have an ability to reach out and ask for help if we need it. And we have an opportunity to help each other. So this is one of the things I love about this style of meditation, is that it raises our vibration. It reminds us that we can do better and that people around us can do better. And I'm just so grateful that you guys are here with me tonight on Christmas Eve to send this beautiful intention out into the world, right? Out into the quantum field. Because the more of us who are paying attention, the less opportunity for those people to harm anyone. Okay? All right. So let's just get settled in, take a breath, and let's intend. We now intend to remain healthy and well in every way as we successfully tend to our own abundance, learning the language of money, protecting ourselves from scams, growing more and more confident in our power to care for ourselves and those we love. If you let this drop into your heart chakra and send it out, spiraling out into the quantum field, and follow the energy. Thank you, everyone. Trust this intention and release it with love. Wow. And so it is. This is an interesting comment. This Ace of Pentacles energy is stirring my ancient soul. What is money really? It's energy, right? It's the quantum field that we can touch. And yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah, thank you. And earlier when I said I hesitated to bring that this message to you on Christmas Eve, go for it. We can handle it. Yes. Thank you, Jan. That is great. Okay, so if you have any insights or impressions from the intention that you'd like to share, just drop it into the chat, and I'll keep an eye on that. And yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this, about how 2026 feels like a very big year. I'm sure there will be other years after that, but there's a lot of colliding energies and things that seem untenable and unsustainable. Like, what's going to break, and how is it going to break, and how is it going to affect all of us? When I took the masterclass for this style of meditation with Lynn McTaggart, the science writer who wrote Power of Eight, one of the things that she was advocating for was to help people learn to talk to each other and to handle difficult situations. And one of the things that she taught us was the concept of a homing thought, right? What is the one thing you have done in your life or you know about yourself that just makes you proud, right? Like for me, my homing thought was the time I was at a friend's house and her little girl was just out of control, just having meltdowns and screaming and hitting her mom and spitting at her. And it was just awful. So the little girl was running around, and when she ran by me, I just scooped her up and put her up my lap. And she fell asleep on me, right? And that's sort of how I ended up with a YouTube channel that says Relax with Daphne, right? I have a talent for putting people to sleep and to help them just release and relax and let go of whatever is going on with their nervous system. So when I think of that, it's like, okay, I have helped at least one person in this life. And that homing thought, when you're feeling attacked and when you feel like you don't know what to do, go back to that thought and see how that informs your values, right? So my value is we care for each other. We help each other. And no matter what happens in the chaos, you can always go back to those thoughts. So this is a great question. JKV 3470. I'm nervous about more chaos, I must say. Any advice? Yes, absolutely. We hear a lot about very small events, right? Like an event now admittedly, there are terrible things that happen, but they're affecting 100 people. And the US has 350 million, okay? But things get amplified. So going outside, looking around, seeing that it's not happening to you is really an important way to manage the nervous system when that is going on. And knowing your limits, how much news can you handle? I'm sorry, this piece of my hair is driving me crazy. How much of the news can you handle, right? If you can only look at headlines once every 3 days, if it's important, you will hear about it, right? We don't need to be laser focused on all the really nasty details of what's happening in the world. Obviously, caring for other people, doing good things for other people is another way to ground yourself and in your values and in what's happening locally, right? We need to care about each other globally, but we act locally, right? So And I think anytime you can, I don't know, play with puppies and talk to a neighbor kid or call a friend, any of those little things that feed us, I think those are going to be more and more important, because so much of this is happening at a level that really, what can we do about it? You know, we have voted, we have talked to our elected officials, we've made our positions clear, we are living our values on a daily basis. But beyond that, it's that energy is going to ride through the world, and we want to be here on the other side of it. So that's my goal, to survive and thrive as well as we can. That is a great question, but keeping it local, I think, is the first thing we have to do. Thank you for asking that. Yeah. And how does money really translate in this society other than being a great energy that goes around? Thank you. Thank you. And Irma, a lot happening during this intention. Getting rid of old ideas about money, creating abundance through the environmental stewardship. Yes. And including humane treatment of animals. Yes. I love that. There is a sort of a tradition in January called Veganuary, right? When people practice or dabble in going vegan with their diet, which is just a diet that doesn't include any animal products. I've eaten that way for environmental reasons for over 10 years. And I'm going to do some separate little videos to encourage people who have chosen, not trying to convert anyone, who have chosen to participate in Veganuary. And I'd like to support them. But thank you for reminding me about this, Irma. Yeah, these intentions from the guides are hitting on multiple levels for me too. And you were visualizing an area that would allow you to keep animals. Yeah. That animals are wonderful, right? Like when someone asks, what do I do about the chaos? Play with puppies, right? Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we're fortunate. I mean, we live on an amazing planet of abundance, right? Like, not only do we have plants that love us and feed us and care for us and provide the very oxygen we breathe, but we also have little angels in fur coats, right? Dogs and cats and iguanas, right? And one of the things I'm being reminded of somatic therapies that are based on watching animals handle trauma, right? Like a leopard chases an antelope, but the antelope escapes. Well, it shakes it off, literally just shakes its body until that energy is out of its nervous system, and then it's perfectly calm and it goes on, right? So we can learn a lot from how animals are handling chaos and how they demonstrate that resilience and that incredible unconditional love that they offer us. And, you don't have to own a pet. You can, lots of people will let you take care of their cats, or you can go to the pet store and play with the animals that they have there. You don't have to, take on the responsibility for an animal, but oh, what a great way to lift up your vibrations. Money is stored life energy. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which means if it's, it is hard to know, how do I get from point A to point B if, I don't have any money and over there is money. How do you do that? Well, just talking about lifting your vibration, right? That sounds really woo-woo, but it's more meaningful than it first appears. If you are lifting your vibration up, and you are going to attract, you're going to be in that resonance, you're going to meet people, you're going to find opportunities. Yeah. Jan says she co-regulates with her doggo daily. Yes. Peter Levine writes of the animal shaking it off. Yes. Yeah, that's a whole branch of therapy now. And what a great way to get to the bottom of things. Yeah, love that. Love that. Yeah. Angels and fur coats. Yes. I mean, you just... they have little personalities and they do dumb things like, shred all the toilet paper in the house, stuff like that. But there is, this incredible energy to animals that, it really is angelic when you spend time with them. Yeah. Yeah. And, I meditated with a dog who was quite ill, and when I was connected with this animal in the quantum field, right, and you're intending, you send it out, and there I was having a conversation with this dog, and the owner was desperate for the dog to heal, but the dog was very firm in its life path, and it knew what the life lesson was for the person that, that was caring for him as his companion. Animals are much wiser on so many levels than we know. So I hope the next time you're hanging out with an animal, you can glimpse that sort of angelic, spiritual, contract kind of thing that they have with us. Yeah. Well, this has been really fun to talk about something very troubling, right? So, bumpy ride, but you know what? We're prepared. We know about it. We know what it's going to take to get through it. We have done tough stuff before, and we can do this. And, one of the things that I just marvel at is I have this stubborn optimism that I can't explain. I can't convince anyone else why they should be feeling optimistic about it, but I just feel like the worst we've already envisioned the worst, and we're gonna go through it, but there are better days on the other side of it. And a lot of things will get broken, and a lot of things will be finally repaired, right? So if you talk to, in the United States, a lot of people are very concerned about changes that are happening. But if you talk to Native Americans, if you talk to Black Americans, talk to any immigrant group, they can tell you exactly what needs to be fixed. And it's been broken for a long time, right? The first enslaved people were brought here from Africa in 1619, right? My ancestors came in 1620, right? So there were already enslaved people here when they arrived. And we have never had an opportunity like this to disrupt old things that were not proper, right? They don't live up to our best ideas, and we have an opportunity to change it. So, yeah. Yeah, that's a cycle. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I remind myself, I love reading about history, and I remind myself of all the times when, like, old people were considered to be like 25, right? Because you just didn't live that long. So it's the best of times and the worst of times. And knowing what we know, I feel we do have to go through some discomfort because we need to change and shift. Yes, we do. And it's hard for people. It's very scary for a lot of people because they can only see what they're losing, and they don't see the possibilities, and they don't have faith that things can get better. And I totally understand that. And it's hard to envision what could be better, right? Like I had a really good example of that once I had a position where I had employees, and I was trying to build a pathway for one of my employees who was very talented to keep going and keep growing within the company. And I knew a pathway. I had already started working on it, and I had precedent, and I had a use case. I had all the PowerPoint prepared. And when I broached the subject with this person, they said, oh no, there's no path. There's no path forward. And I'm like, I'm telling you there is. And this person said no. And so I had to, she proved herself right? How could I advocate for this person's growth if they won't even say yes when I'm presenting it? Yeah. So that really taught me a lot about how we shape our future with our thoughts. And I mean, who knows? Maybe that was mostly a lesson for me. And she went off to have a fabulous life somewhere else, which is great. Yes, witnessing this is amazing. It is scary, and it's going to be wonderful. Yeah. And I'm so glad to be here with you guys. This is so fun. Okay, everyone. Hello. So glad you're here. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this intention. A year from now, let's get back together and see what happened and how we did. I think we're going to be fine. And I think it's going to be quite a ride. Quite a ride. Okay. All right, everyone. So this is our tradition, is to disentangle our energy. And it's time to disentangle not only from each other, you take your energy back, but also from the intention, right? That's one thing I really like about this style of meditation. You just let it go. Let it do its thing. We sent it out into the quantum field, and now we're just going to move on with our lives. So, hand over heart, breathing in, soften the gaze or close your eyes. Breathing in and out. Breathing in 4, 5, 6, and out 5, 6, 7. In and out. Shoulders relaxing. A little adjustment in the brain as you disconnect from me and from the intentions and from others in this meditation. Our energy comes back to us. Their energy goes back to them. Leaving, knowing we've done good work. Energy clean and clear. Nourished by the idea that we can do this work and actually make things better. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next Wednesday. New Year's Eve, the fifth meditation, fifth message from the guides. I'll see you then. Bye.